Spring break, a yearly ritual enjoyed by college students nationwide. A satanic cult under the spell of its leader, Adolfo Constanzo. He has managed to convince his followers that they need a young, innocent victim for a very different kind of ritual. These two groups are on a deadly collision course. In the summer of 1989, the nation was stunned by one of the most shocking crimes imaginable. The ritual satanic sacrifice of Mark Kilroy, an American college student. But there was more to this tragedy than was first reported. Much more. The young victim was the nephew of a U.S. customs agent. And his murder would lead to the destruction of one of the most bizarre cults in the world. Now, for the first time, the real story behind this real nightmare can be told.
Came home from school, and he was home with us maybe 4 or 5 hours while I did his laundry, and then they left about 11 in the evening to start driving down.
If you're a college student living in South Texas, spring break means one thing: a quick trip across the border into Mexico. Every year, thousands of college students descend on the small border towns in search of a little harmless fun. It was something Mark Kilroy and his friends had done several times before. But this time, it would be different.
Mark was a good student, a good athlete, and an all-around All-American kid. He was studying pre-med, and he was an A student. My nephew was 21 years old, and he was my brother's eldest son.
Mark and his friends had no way of knowing that they were being stalked by members of Adolfo Constanzo's evil cult. As the group left the cantina, Mark's behavior seemed to change. It's thought that one of Constanzo's gang may have slipped something into Mark's drink. A short time later, Mark became separated from his friends. Suddenly alone and disoriented, he was an easy target.
Mark was just a victim of circumstances, in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Excuse me, buddy. You know the way to the border?
Yeah. Yeah, if you just go straight up the street, it's right there, man. You can't miss it.
Thank you. Orle, vamos!
What are you doing? Leave me alone. Leave me alone. What are you doing? Leave me alone. What are you doing? Leave me alone.
I got a call from one of the fellas that had gone with our son. I know that was really a hard call for that boy to make, to tell me that something terrible had happened, that Mark was missing.
That's when we called my brother Ken, because of his the fact that he's an investigator and knows how to do these kind of things better than we.
My brother was very intense in looking for his son. He spent days and days without sleep looking for his son. That time on, it was the worst ordeal of their lives.
The resident agent in charge of the Brownsville office, he received a call from Ken Kilroy. Then other agencies became involved.
Some of the customs officers, along with some of the investigators from the sheriff's office, went to Matamoros to start looking around the jails and everything.
The initial phase was, of course, just going through, interviewing a few people down the street.
We'd like to ask you a few questions, if we could. We want to know if you've seen this individual in your bar in the last couple of days.
Despite the combined efforts of U.S. Customs, DEA, the Brownsville Sheriff's Department, and Mexican authorities, not one trace of Mark Kilroy could be found.
A lot of college students in town. His name is Mark Kilroy. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.
Kind of things that went through our head that maybe he was wandering around somewhere, not knowing where he was at.
It was as if Mark had vanished from the face of the earth. It would be more than a month before investigators would get their first break in the case. It was a lead that would eventually put them face to face with a sociopathic killer.
Come on, boys, let's get this stuff out of here. Come on.
Adolfo Constanzo and his minions were involved in drug smuggling. Constanzo had convinced his devoted followers that their dark and sadistic rituals would give them superhuman powers.
Remember, the law can't touch us, bullets can't hurt us. We're invincible. All right. Can you do that for me?
Yeah, no problem.
Constanzo, he would tell them that because of the sacrifices they made, that they would never be caught by law enforcement because they would be invisible.
But on a desolate road outside of Matamoros, Constanzo's outrageous claims proved false after one of his cult members broke through a Mexican police checkpoint. When we return, the mystery unravels, and investigators find themselves staring into the darkest reaches of the human soul. It's a tragic reality that after someone's been missing for as long as Mark Kilroy, family and friends begin to prepare for the worst. But nothing could have prepared Mark's loved ones for the shocking truth they would learn from a member of Adolfo Constanzo's demonic cult. Jose Serafin, one of Constanzo's followers, was arrested by Mexican federal police after he tried to run them down at a border checkpoint. He was taken into custody and interrogated.
Si no hablas, lo vamos a sacar. Si no, te lo vamos a sacar.
During questioning, Serafin told his interrogators about the narcotics operation being run out of a local ranch known as Santa Elena.
Buenos días. ¿Quién es el dueño de este rancho?
They went out to the ranch and they talked to the ranch hand and took him in also for questioning.
How you doing, sir? Sir, my name is Robert Gracia. I'm a special agent for U.S. Customs.
Eventually, a picture of Mark Kilroy was shown to the ranch hand.
Yeah, I've seen him.
When was the last time you saw him, sir?
About a month ago for 2 days.
And he identified it as being someone he had seen out at the ranch earlier. And that he had given him food and water.
He was tied up in the barn with duct tape, his feet, his hands, and his mouth. I felt pretty bad for the kid. I haven't seen him anymore.
Sir, a month ago was the last time you saw him, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you wouldn't lie to me?
No, sir. These are bad people, sir. I'm really scared. I'm scared.
¿Dónde está el cuerpo de Mark Kilroy?
Yo no sé.
¡Usted sabe!
Yo no sé nada.
¡Dime la verdad!
Armed with this new information, authorities intensified their interrogation of Jose Serafin.
I got a call from the comandante, Juan Benitez Ayala, and said, I think we know where Mark Kilroy is. And I said, oh, Comandante, are you sure? You know, we've gotten a lot of calls. He says, no, I've gotten a confession.
The chilling story that unfolded was nothing less than a living nightmare.
No me des en paz, ni de noche ni de día. No me des en paz. Es todo tuyo.
Mátalo. Mátalo. Ahora sí, Adolfo. Mátalo. Mátalo yo. Mátalo, Adolfo. Mátalo. Machete, mátalo. Mátalo. Ahora sí. Es todo tuyo. Es todo tuyo. Mátalo. Mátalo, Adolfo. Mátalo. Mátalo. Mátalo.
Ya lo tenemos, Adolfo.
Mátalo. Va a ser invisibles. Mátalo. A tener poder. No nos puede parar. Somos invisibles. Somos invisibles.
Tenemos el poder de ser invisibles.
Mark Kilroy's innocent life was taken in a vicious ceremony performed at Santa Elena Ranch. Enraged by the details of Mark's gruesome death, authorities vowed to bring his killers to justice.
Constanzo and one or two other of his cult followers escaped apprehension from federal judicial police as well as our agencies here in the United States.
Authorities tracked Constanzo and the remaining members of his coven to Mexico City, where they were holed up in an abandoned tenement.
It's over. You're gonna have to kill me. Shoot me! Kill me! It's over. Do it now! Don't ask any questions. Right, just do it!
Adolfo Constanzo's followers were loyal to the end.
Constanzo had gotten into the closet, and he had ordered one of his bodyguards to shoot him in the closet.
By the time officers stormed the building, Constanzo was dead. His followers were arrested and charged with the first-degree murder of Mark Kilroy. At the ranch, the gruesome remnants of the cult's demonic ceremonies were captured on video by local authorities. A short time later, they were led to where Mark Kilroy was buried. Tragically, the bodies of 11 other men were also exhumed. They too had been tortured and ritually sacrificed.
When they told us that Mark had been found, it was really, I guess, a double shock for us to imagine how, how there would be people that could do something like that, and sometimes for myself that it will come to the surface that I'll become very sad that that I can't see my son, that he's not around with us, and that we won't see him become a doctor or get married or have children. But we We had to draw upon our faith that, our belief that Mark was now safe. He was in a better place.
U.S. Customs Classified will return in a moment.
Hoy la policía está realizando una búsqueda en México, Florida y Texas para localizar al líder de una cadena de narcotraficantes ligada por lo menos a una docena de asesinatos satánicos en México. La policía también busca a una mujer que sería, según el fiscal a cargo de Texas, la bruja de la operación. En el rancho de Matamoros, México, había señales de carnicería de seres humanos por todos lados. El cobertizo era el lugar donde se llevaban a cabo las torturas. Fue aquí donde, según las autoridades, 14 personas fueron mutiladas durante un periodo de 9 meses, incluido el estudiante de medicina de la Universidad de Texas, Mark Kilroy, de 21 años, cuyas piernas fueron cortadas a la altura de las rodillas. También le cortaron la cabeza y cocinaron parte del cuerpo. El miércoles, las autoridades mexicanas hicieron desfilar a los 4 hombres acusados de los crímenes. Uno de ellos es de los Estados Unidos. Frente a los periodistas, confesaron haber secuestrado a las víctimas al azar y haberlas descuartizado como parte de un ritual de sacrificios. Las autoridades están buscando a 6 miembros del culto, incluido Adolfo Constanzo, de 27 años, ciudadano norteamericano, el supuesto líder del grupo con domicilio en Brownsville, Estados Unidos. Está buscando a Sarah Aldred, de 24 años, considerada extremadamente peligrosa. Se cree que podría haber 2 cuerpos más enterrados en el rancho. Las autoridades dicen que no hay pruebas de canibalismo de parte del culto, aunque creen que el cuerpo de Mark Kilroy fue exhumado y su columna vertebral fue utilizada para hacer un collar. Ellos creían que el sacrificio humano y animal les proveía un escudo mágico que los protegía del mal o de cualquier daño.
I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated. The fact is, you can't look at that television and say, nothing happened.